All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another one. This is the Crypto Decrypted, TDME Crypto Decrypted, brought to you by TD Markets and TD Markets Exchange. I go by the name of Tsepo. Happy Friday to everyone joining us live, right? Happy to be back again. Once more, I was with you guys on yesterday's trading room, and this one just wraps up the week. Here we are talking about crypto. This one is centered around crypto, right? With our TD Markets Exchange, right? Welcome everyone, welcome. Hope you guys are having a good Friday. I think let's jump straight into it. I'm just waiting for the slow pokes to jump in and we're gonna get started, right? Jules, I can see you as always. Welcome. Please do subscribe if there's anyone joining us for the first time. Please do subscribe, like, share. We are on road to 20 or rather 10k subscribers before the end of this year. If not, we'll push it to January. All right, but yeah, welcome back, Michael. I can see you. Welcome back on this beautiful Friday afternoon. The weather is looking good, and yeah, I think we're gonna have a good one. All right. So guys, I think let's jump straight into it. First things first, our TD Markets Exchange website is tdmarkets.io. All right, we've got tdmarkets.com and we've got tdmarkets.io. Now the IO is strictly for crypto. So if you guys wanna transact or if you guys wanna trade derivatives on our platform, right? If you wanna trade derivatives or in our platform, that is the TDME Exchange. This is the website. Sign up, and then you will get assisted there, right? And also don't forget, I'm sure you guys have seen it across all social media that if you transact, if you activate your free TDME account, you will receive 50 ZAC, right, upon registration. And additionally, you will receive another 50 ZAC when you make your first deposit. Now, remember, ZAC is our stable coin. We'll talk more about stable coin a little bit later on, but ZAC is a stable coin, our TD Market stable coin pegged with the rent, so it's 1-to-1, right? So we'll talk more about it. So yeah, so just sign up and then it should take you straight to here, all right? Let me just log in. Just give me 1 second. Let's just log in here. There we go. I just need to conclude this verification. But yeah, it will take you straight to our platform. This is the TD Markets Exchange where we trade derivatives on the platform. All right. So remember, upon registration, you get 50 ZAC, and your first deposit, you can claim your 50 ZAC. All right. So let me see how many people we have here before we continue. Please like, share, subscribe. We're going to have a good one. Anthony, I can see you. Welcome, Gabe. Thank you so much for joining us again. All right. So guys, I think the topic is crypto. All right. We've been talking about crypto. We've been talking about what's happening in the crypto markets right now. Remember, there's a lot of opportunities in the crypto. We are all about diversifying our portfolio, right? Of course, we've got Forex, and now we've got crypto on our platform, all right? TDME, TD Markets Exchange. So we're all about diversifying. And I think that is where the world is headed, right? Diversifying your portfolio so that you can increase your gains, and then so that you can better manage your risk. All right, so that's all. We are all about it, right? Looking at the chat right now, King, welcome. Good afternoon. Welcome. Thank you so much for joining us once again. The usual suspects are back, right? I wish my brother Ash was here with you guys. In fact, was here with us, right? But yeah, I know that he's watching somewhere around the world. He's somewhere around the world. Anyway, so yeah, guys, so we're all about diversification, all right, of our portfolio. So this session is strictly designed for crypto. For the past couple of weeks, we've been talking about what's happening in the crypto market, not from a technical point of view, but from a fundamental point of view, all right? And nothing has changed, guys. We're sticking to the same script. What's happening right now, what's driving price right now is fear, it's greed, it's just emotions, right? Last time I spoke about the fear and greed index. We spoke about the altcoin season index. We spoke about a lot of indicators, right? So in today's session, I want to touch on one of the leading indicators, in crypto, right? Make sure that you have your pen, make sure that you have a notepad ready, because you guys, I'm going to dish up some gems for you guys. There is this specific indicator, right, in the crypto market that tells us about the flow of capital, the flow of money, especially from big investors, right? Big institutions. So make sure you've got your pen ready. Make sure you've got your water, your coffee, something cold, nice. Something nice and cold ready. And yeah, let's jump straight into it, right? So what are we talking about? This is what we're talking about, guys, right? This is what we're talking about, right? Crypto ETFs. Crypto ETFs, all right? We already spoke about the market cap, Bitcoin's market cap, the crypto market cap, and how it's affected. We already spoke about the Bitcoin dominance, but you can go back to it, right? Bitcoin dominance, market cycle indicators, altcoin season index, fear and greed index. These are just some of the indicators, but there's this one indicator that is used as a leading indicator, and that is the crypto ETFs, all right? So what is the crypto ETFs? What is meant by crypto ETFs, right? There's what you call crypto ETF inflows and outflows, right? But let me break it down. So crypto ETFs, guys, right? ETF stands for exchange traded fund. That is what ETF stands for. Now, crypto ETFs are investment funds that track the price of the cryptocurrency. So it's an investment fund that tracks the price of the cryptocurrency, right? And then the most common one is the BTF, or rather the Bitcoin ETF and the Ethereum ETF. Now, this ETF, it can be traded on like your traditional stock exchange, like your NASDAQ or your New York Stock Exchange, right? So ETF, exchange traded fund, and crypto ETF, it's that fund that tracks the price of that cryptocurrency. So here we're going to be talking about the Bitcoin ETF as well as the Ethereum ETF, right? So it's basically, so the crypto ETF inflows and outflows basically means how much money big investors are putting in or taking out of this Bitcoin or Ethereum ETFs, right? So it's all about rotation of funds. So the inflows speaks about how much money is going in, and outflows, obviously, how much money is going out, right? That is what inflows and outflows, right? It basically refers to the movement of money. Now, remember the last time I told you guys that what's happening right now, crypto is a little bit different to your Forex. Crypto is all about the rotation of funds. And this indicator we're talking about, it sums that up beautifully for us, right? So now what happens? How does everything work now, right? We know what inflows and outflows. How does everything work? Now, inflows basically means money going in, right? Now, investors, what happens when there's an inflow is that investors are buying shares of that ETF, right? And then what happens is that ETF must buy that underlying crypto. So if we have a BTF or rather Bitcoin ETF inflow, that means now investors are buying shares of that ETF, and that ETF must buy Bitcoin, all right? Or that ETF buys Bitcoin. So now, when this happens, it usually means there's strong demand, there's institutional adoption, institutional buying, and the sentiment is bullish, right? And as a result, the price usually goes up. So whenever there's a lot of crypto ETFs or Bitcoin ETFs, Ethereum ETFs, usually the price goes up, right? And then now outflow, right? Outflow, it means money is going out, right? So this is a situation where investors are redeeming or they are selling their shares of that ETF. And now that ETF, what does it do? It then sells that underlying crypto, right? This could be as a result of profit taking, fear, which is basically what's moving the market right now. Fear, greed, emotions. So whenever there's an outflow, money going out, that's basically institutions selling, maybe profit taking, and the sentiment turns bearish. As a result, price of that underlying crypto usually drops. All right. So now, why is this important? Right? Why is this important? Because it gauges institutional sentiment, right? So ETF flows show what large sentiment or what large institutions are doing with their money, with real money. Remember, it's the moving of funds, the rotation of funds, right? So it gauges institutional sentiment. It tells us how the money is rotating, right? And it also impacts that crypto. It has a direct impact on that crypto as well. So large inflows removes coins from the market, and now large outflows puts coins back into circulation, right? So now it also can be used as a leading indicator. So that is basically, in simple terms, what crypto inflows, outflows is. So we've got Bitcoin inflows, we've got Bitcoin ETF inflows, outflows, and Ethereum ETF inflows, outflows, right? So the chart that I have right now, I think immediately you can see in red the total net flows, right, since the 4th of December. Look at that, right? Look at that. There has been heavy outflow. Now, obviously, this is the net, right? Meaning when you combine both Bitcoin and Ethereum together, right? This is the outflow. Now, remember, what does outflow do? It causes bearish sentiment, right? Money is going out. Big money is going out from these large institutions, right? And then now this chart here basically shows you the two, the Bitcoin and the Ethereum. Bitcoin is in orange, Ethereum is in blue, right? So this is today's activity, right? This is, in fact, from yesterday, this is yesterday's activity. So yesterday, look what happened, right? We have a lot of Bitcoin ETF outflows. We've got a lot of Bitcoin ETF outflows. We also have a few Ethereum outflows as well, right? But basically, we've got outflows. Now, the past 2 days, we've seen how Bitcoin has gone up and how Ethereum has gone up. In fact, let me go back, right? Let me go back to it. So I'm going to just put out the chart, the Bitcoin chart here. Let's just remove everything here. There we go. So have a look at this chart, right? You see how since the past couple of days, Bitcoin has been pushing up, right? So obviously there's a lot of indicators. So at that point in time, there was more ETF inflows, right? Look at this. There were just a bit of ETF inflows there, not much outflows, not much inflows either, but we can see what has happened, right? So this would have been a leading indicator. You would have understood, or you would have anticipated Bitcoin to go up, Ethereum to go up, right? So, I want you guys just to hear me properly, right? This can be used as a leading indicator. It can be used as a leading indicator. Excuse me. All right. So now, this is the situation here, guys, right? Inflows, ETF outflows plays a major role on how Bitcoin and Ethereum are going to move. So keep an eye on this. It's very important, right? And we also have the fear and greed index, where there's still a lot of fear in the market, right? There's a lot of fear in the market. Now, I just quickly want to go to the altcoin season index. So the altcoin season index states that we should be in a Bitcoin season at the moment, right? Altcoins are suffering, so we should be in a Bitcoin season. But now Bitcoin is still going down. So the usual case is that whenever altcoins suffer, Bitcoin goes up. Whenever Bitcoin suffer, altcoins tend to pick up. But now all of them are just going down. So what's going on? It's just emotions that is driving price right now. All right. So basically, before we go to the charts, just to give you guys a bit of what's happening, but it's the same thing as what we spoke about last week and 2 weeks ago, right? We stick to the same script, and all we want to do now is to look at how the market is reacting, right? And then we just want to take it price action by price action. So now I'm quickly going to do analysis, guys, on Bitcoin and Ethereum. This is obviously on our exchange. This is how our exchange looks. It's a pretty simple with a simple user interface, right? So remember, that is tdmarkets.io. Sign up, have your details there, and then you'll be able to transact there, right? Remember, you're going to receive a bonus of 50 ZAC when you activate your account upon registration, and your first deposit gives you another 50 ZAC. We'll talk about ZAC in another session. It's a stable coin. We're going to have a topic around stable coins so that you understand why the world is moving towards stable coins, right? Which is really, really interesting. So let's look at Bitcoin, right? Let's look at what Bitcoin is doing. I'm just going to open up a bigger chart there so that we are all on the same page. All right. So Bitcoin, ladies and gentlemen, it has not given us or showed us any bullish signs as yet. It hasn't done that, all right? What is happening right now is that it is currently trading around the zone, right? It is trying to reject this zone that is around $88,700, right? That's where it is. Now, you will notice that previously, the market created a higher low down here, right? And then it rallied up. It came back to tap the zone one more time. All right. So like I mentioned the last time, this zone is going to be important because should price break this zone, then we are most likely coming back down to this low, right? So this whole area is very important because that's where the last structure was, or rather that is the last structure that price broke, right? Look at how aggressive that break is. So it's important to you and I now. So from the weekly perspective, we have the following as well, right? We have this area, right? We can all see what happened. I'm just going to draw a line, right? We've got that zone. We can see what happened there. There's been a bit of structure, then the market went down. So to me, these are the structures that are important to me, right? In order for me to try and figure out what Bitcoin is trying to do. The dominant structure and trend is still bullish, all right? But I just want to look at the turning points that we can expect. So now on the daily time frame, you see how I say we don't really see much momentum towards the upside because after this massive drop, right? After this massive drop here, the market is just going up like this now, right? Which is not that strong. So if it's like this, it then gives us the possibility that Bitcoin might still drop again. It might drop one more time, right? We've got the Bitcoin ETF outflows, right? So that results in price going down. So that's what's happening right now. There's a lot of outflows, right? So coins are going back into circulation. So now, as a result, we would then anticipate Bitcoin to continue pushing down, right? But I want us to take it price action by price action, bit by bit. So what do I mean by that? This is what I mean. I'm going to go to the 4-hour time frame, right? So on the 4-hour time frame, what's important is, okay, not only what's important, but this structure here is going to be a structure that we want to consider, right? You've got your nice support, you've got your nice resistance. It's a channel pushing towards the upside. So look at where the market is coming from. It's coming from this top, right? It's coming from this top. So we've got these two tops. We've got these two lows here, right? It's coming from that top. There we go. So now we have a bit of push towards the downside. So usually when price creates something like this, right, it usually results in the second high and then price goes down. So that is what we're seeing at the moment, right? So from a short-term point of view, let's go back to the daily quickly. You see the structure here, right? Let me highlight the structure, right? You see the structure there. From a short-term point of view, we can easily see Bitcoin coming back down to the structure, right? I just want to remove this channel, just have our charts looking a little more cleaner, right? So from a short-term point of view, we can see Bitcoin coming back to tap the structure, right? And also what I see here is if I take my Fibonacci, I draw my Fibonacci as such, right? You will notice that the 50 and the 61.8 of the Fibonacci is on the zone, So short term, we are likely going to see Bitcoin coming back down to the zone here, to the zone. And then in terms of the bigger structure, it can easily do this in terms of the bigger structure, right? It can easily do that. But from a short-term point of view, coming back to tap this low, and then we'll see whether it extends this channel, right? We'll see, because we're still within this channel here. Then after that, we'll see whether it extends this channel or not, right? Because it can still do this. It can still go back up again and then come back down again, something like this. All right. So this would be a nice opportunity that one can look out for on our TDME, right? Because now the structure is turned bearish. Let me just show you on the 1 hour time frame. There we go. Now look at how the structure is turned bearish now. So we are now breaking below structures, right? Past structures. You see how the structure was very strong in the past. There was a lot of activity there, right? Break, retest. Now we've broken below the structure. So any retest of this, right? Should there be any retest, we are likely gonna continue pushing towards the downside there, right? At the same time, we can still go down, right? There's a possibility that there might not be a retest. We can still push down, but at the moment we are within this bearish structure, which means we are then focusing on price pushing towards the downside there. All right, so this is now taking it piece by piece until it gives us that bigger picture, right? That bigger picture. So Bitcoin, so what is that price? Let me see what that price is here. That is around 91,000, around 91,900. All right. So now on our exchange, would easily then put an order 91,900, right? Would easily then put an order. Let me just do this. 91,900. So let me just do this. Let me see value margin 3 fees. Yeah, so that 91,900 let's do this somewhere here. 91,900. Let me just look for it. Whoa. 91,900. Aha, right there. All right. So now if I'm looking to capitalize on this push towards the downside, right, I would look for an order there. I would look for a trade there, right, which is gonna be around this line here, right? Should we get a retest, then we know we're anticipating price to go down. 91,900. All right. And then if you take a look at Ethereum, right? Let's go to Ethereum. So we have also a bit of outflows on Ethereum as well. And with Ethereum, it's a similar price action to Bitcoin as well, right? What's happening right now. So let me just do this. Yeah, there we go. So Ethereum, guys, it's trading on the 61.8, right? If we take the Fibonacci as such, we'll notice that it bounced off of the 61.8, right? 61.8 of the Fib level. So that's where this thing is bouncing from. And then you've got a bit of structure on the left-hand side. So now on the lower time frames, the market isn't going down as aggressive as we would want, right? We're looking at a situation where we had this correction, price went down, right? This correction, price went down. So we're looking at that situation as well to say that this correction could easily push price back down again. It could easily push price back down again. All right. Could easily push price back down again. But we're going to take it step by step. All right. So now let's go back. Let me do this. Let me remove this fib. There we go. Great stuff. So we have this structure there. Price nearly tapped the structure, and then we're pushing down, right? So I'm going to do the same thing that I did with Bitcoin, where any possible move to the downside, it could take us back down to that 50, right? We're going to use that 50 as a possible target. So any move towards the downside could take us back down to the 50, right? There isn't much structure on the left-hand side, except if we take this here and then we said, you know, there was a rejection there, anticipating maybe something like that, right? But there wasn't any stronger proper structure. So yeah, so I think the outlook would be the same as Bitcoin, all right? Outlook would be same as Bitcoin. So at the moment, this is what we're seeing at the moment, right? Let me go to let me see. All right, so we have already broken below and came back to tap that. So we have a lower high there. So this lower high, it should be taking us back down to this lower low. So if I just do this, there we go. So we've got a lower high here that formed, right? So this lower high should be taking us back down to this lower low, short term, right? And then from there, we'll see how far price can go, right? So this was the previous low. So we're anticipating price to come back down here again, right there, right? Yeah, so it seems like Ethereum on a short-term point of view is going to take us back to the zone, right? Short-term point of view, we are likely going to see it coming back down to the zone. And if it continues to trade lower, then we could easily see this going all the way back down to that area there, right? Maybe that 50. Where is it? Yeah, this 50 here. All right. And that's basically what's happening at the moment, guys, right? So keeping an eye, you know, personally, I'm long-term bullish. So I'm just waiting for the noise to die out. I'm just waiting for the emotions, you know, what's happening right now. But from a shorter term point of view, we're likely going to see this happen, right? Both on Bitcoin, or one more push down, Ethereum also, one more push down, according to this price action, right? And basically combining everything together, right? Combining everything together. So yeah, so that's what we're seeing here, guys, right? That's what we're seeing here. Let me go back. We've got negative net or ETF net inflows, or right flows, meaning we've got a lot of outflows. So yeah, so things are a little bit bearish at the moment in the crypto. All right. So let me see. No, the execution will not, it's going to be different, right? Remember, empty platform and an exchange is two different things. So you've got your MetaTrader platform, and then you've got your crypto exchange, right? The TD Markets exchange. It's a little bit different. So on the exchange, you are trading the price of that asset, not the asset, but the price of the asset. So when it comes to position sizes and all of that, you break down crypto in like bits, right? There are specific names to it. I just forgot the names, but we are trading small fractions, right? Small fractions of that coin, right? Like one. So you won't transact one BTC. You're gonna transact 0.0001, which is now breaking it in bits and bits and bits and bits. All right. You look at your Solano, Cardano. So that's how it works. Let me go back to it. So you see here, it says on the quantity there. Let me do this. You see on quantity there, right? It says 0.0008. If I take this and then I just move it here, it's gonna tell me, all right, I'm gonna be trading about 17% of the capital that I have, right? This crypto here. So in quantity is basically 0.0028 BTC. So it's not really one BTC, but we're breaking it down in small pieces. So that's how it works in an exchange. We break it down in small pieces, right? So if you take this all the way there, right? In fact, this is kind of like a margin calculator, right? So you will notice you've got your used margin there, right? And the value and all of that. So how much positions you can execute depends on the margin that is going to be used, right? So with this margin right now, I can only take one position with this margin right now, right? But now if I move this down and then I trade small bits, then I can still take more trades, because each trade with this 15%, each position is going to require me 14.59 USDT as my margin, right? So if I have enough than 14.59 USDT, I can still take more positions until your margin is used up. So all the way down here, you are going to see the margin. Let me do this. Let me see if I can. Okay. All right, it's fine. I just want to see if I can move this slightly to the side so I can show you something here. Or rather, let me do it this way. Let me do it this way. Just 1 second. There we go. So you see on the bottom right there. So where it says used margin, right? The moment you execute the position, then you'll be able to see how much margin is used off your account. So if, for instance, you've got 100 USDT, right? USDT, and then you take a trade and then your used margin is 100 USDT, then you won't be able to execute more trades. But if your used margin is lower than USDT, like let's say maybe 12 USDT, then you've got more than enough margin. You can still execute more trades. It's similar to Forex as well. Remember, Forex, we've got the required margin. So this is kind of like the required margin. In fact, it is the required margin. You see right there. So yeah, so that's how it is. That's how you will know how many positions you can execute. I hope that answers the question. I'm not sure. All right. Yeah, so let's see what's going to happen, guys. We're looking at Bitcoin maybe going down one more time. Bitcoin going down one more time. All right, boom. And then let's see what Ethereum is going to do, right? And then all the other altcoins are likely going to follow as well. All the other altcoins are likely going to follow as well. All right. So there you have it, guys. There you have it. There you have it. Keep an eye on the next week. We'll come back with another topic now. So today we broke down one indicator, which is the crypto ETF inflows, outflows, right? So on the next session, we'll then talk about other indicators that one can look at, right? But I hope you guys understood. Hope you guys enjoyed. And yeah, TDME, tdmarkets.io. That's where you can find the crypto exchange. Have some funds in there and claim your 50 ZAC, right? More funds to trade. All right. Great stuff. Great stuff. Great stuff. Guys, this is where we're going to end it for today. I don't see any questions on the chat. Let me see. All right. Wait, before we adjourn, are there any questions, guys, from anyone? Right. Are there any questions? All right. I think we're all on the same page. All right, cool. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Have a good weekend. We're going to end it here. We'll catch you guys back again next week. Keep an eye on our social media pages on YouTube for sessions, the trading rooms, the opening bells. We've got also education. We also have the crypto education as well. So make sure you sign up and then you'll get the further communication there. All right. That's it, guys. Have a good one. Enjoy yourselves and cheers.